Hello everyone, and welcome to Pandaren Update. Number 4. Bet you didn't see that one coming, even though you kinda did, so disregard that. In this update, we're going to be talking about new updates to content, social media, and addressing the comment section, because that's there, as well as a new announcement for a mini-series of a piece of content that hasn't been on this channel in nearly a year. So, without further ado, let's just get right into the content. The first thing I want to touch on in this update video is just a brief recap on Mod Gear. As you know, Mod Gear recently just ended its season with season recap and Let's Talk after the show premiering just within the last few weeks. So if you're new to the channel, and that's if you actually are new, then please go check out Mod Gear because that's going to give you like a baseline as to what to expect from the channel coming forward. And if you want to see basically the whole development process behind Mod Gear, then go check out Let's Talk After the Show, which premiered on June 12th, so you can see just kind of how the show was made in the first place. And lastly, just for, I guess, a final thank you for Mod Gear. So, thank you so much for supporting Mod Gear pretty much through its entire 4-month run, as I didn't expect to get that much, I guess, I don't know, I don't want to say fame, because then I'd sound like a weirdo. I guess just support. Thank you for the support that you gave Mod Gear, because it's really helped out. The next segment I want to talk about is actually a legitimate update, and that is regarding Panda's Lost Episodes. Not necessarily many changes are coming to Panda's Lost Episodes, however, I do want to address just kind of when the show is ending, because it hasn't really been stated as to when. And unfortunately, I have to go ahead and say it now, Panda's Lost Episodes is planned to end pretty soon, like a lot sooner than you think. As of right now, currently as when Pandaren Update goes live on a Friday, the Wednesday, or in this case 2 days before, you probably will have seen episode 6B premiere, and let's just say that was a good episode. I mean, it was alright. Basically, as it is right now, episode 7A along with 7B are currently planned to be the last episodes that Panda's Lost Episodes is going to have before it ends. So, with that being said, how is the show going to end? Because would there be some kind of dramatic ending? The answer to that is no. Unlike shows like, say, Mod Gear and what will eventually be EXE Files, Panda's Lost Episodes is not going to have its own unique episode devoted to ending the show, and nor is it going to have some kind of really dramatic 7-minute outro or something. Once 7B goes live in probably like July, that's it. And then like following it up, it would be Let's Talk After the Show regarding the show itself. So that's just kind of a heads up, just saying, hey, Panda's Lost Episodes is coming to its end here pretty soon, so I just want to make sure everyone's there knowing, okay, it's going to happen. So in that case, when are these episodes going to premiere? As it currently is stated right now, since by this point, episode 6B will have gone live, episode 7A is currently planned to premiere on July 1st, and 7B is planned to air on July 15th. So July 15th would be the final episode of the show completely, with Let's Talk After the Show probably premiering the Friday after, or probably like next week on Wednesday or something. But that basically just wraps up that, just to say, hey, show's ending, get ready for it. And now, we head to the next segment of Pandaren Update, which is probably the biggest, and that is regarding EXE Files. Oh man, there has been a lot of development time that has gone into EXE Files over the course of the last 2 months. But what I'm going to be talking about in this update video is a lot of the changes and a lot of stuff that's either been scrapped or stuff that's been confirmed that's going to happen in the show, just to tell you guys how development's going. The very first thing that's been reworked is the entire story for the show has basically gotten reworked, basically. It's very similar to that of the original, but slightly different. Basically, the story now just goes, Panda wakes up one day and heads to EXE headquarters, where he finds his boss, and his boss tells him, hey, there's these 12 files we need to collect to stop Flowey, because, you know, naturally. And so for, I'm assuming 12 episodes, because 12 files, let's be honest, Panda has to go to different locations all around the world to find these files, and in order to summon the legendary sword, the Defiler, which that's, you know, that's a clever name, to kill Flowey once and for all and save the world. So, the story's definitely had a massive rework, and that leads into something else which was mentioned in Let's Talk before the show, which if you haven't seen that, back in like January, go check that out. It was mentioned in that episode that EXE Files was going to have at least some relationships with 2 major games, and those 2 games were Undertale and Earthbound. As of now, the relationship that EXE Files will have with Earthbound is completely gone. I just feel that it did not make any sense whatsoever to put Earthbound relationships into a show that's going to be primarily focused and pretty much entirely focused on an Undertale-like aesthetic. So don't expect to see any kind of Earthboundy relatedness in the show when it goes out. Another big thing, basically this just regards like story and pretty much the entire show as a whole, is that EXE Files is now planned to be a lot more linear when it comes to its storytelling. Meaning that, okay, it might say like some quote from a character or something, but it's not going to mean like 3 different things. It's always going to mean one thing, but it is going to be like every once in a while, yeah, you'll throw some stuff in there, but it can mean more than one thing. But most of the show is going to remain linear, because, you know, if I make it not linear, then it's just not going to work. And now I get to the more interesting parts of the changes that have come to EXE Files over the course of the last few months, and that is the final episode count, or how many episodes there will be, has been decided. And that number is 14. Now, the way the episodes for the show are made and how they're numbered is really weird, as unlike shows like Mod Gear and Panda's Lost Episodes where they start with episode 1, EXE Files is not going to start with an episode 1. Instead, EXE Files will start on its launch day, which I'll mention here in a second. It will start on its launch day with episode 0, as episode 0 is basically meant to explain the show's story and explain where, in terms of like actual, you know, story, where is the show currently right now in its story. Episodes 1 to 12, again, those are going to be collecting the files and whatnot, and 13 would be like the final battle, essentially. So, for a total of 14 episodes. So, hopefully that's a healthy amount. I'm going to assume it's healthy. Moving on now to probably the biggest detail for the show, and that is, back in Let's Talk Before the Show, there was really no confirmed release date as to when EXE Files was planned to go live. The closest we got was that it was probably going to premiere sometime maybe August, maybe September probably, and maybe like as late as maybe like October or even November probably. But now EXE Files actually has a legitimately confirmed release date. And if we could just get a drum roll please, the release date for EXE Files is planned to be Friday, September 4th, 2020. So basically like the very first Friday of September. Now originally this was supposed to be September 11th, but I figured no, because there's too many jokes I can play on that day, so no. And that leads into just kind of the air date, the schedule for the show. What is going to be EXE Files' schedule? If you've seen Mod Gear and you've seen kind of its schedule, EXE Files Reboot's basically going to run on almost pretty much the exact same schedule as Mod Gear has, premiering every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it's just going to copy Mod Gear's schedule, basically. Leading into the last 2 points that I have for just kind of changes that have come and gone over the course of the last 2 months, and more like 3 really, of EXE Files' development. It was mentioned also in Let's Talk Before the Show that EXE Files would have a second trailer at some point, probably during the summer. And I'm very sad to say that it has been confirmed now that there is no second trailer that's going to be made for the show, primarily just because I just want to keep things a secret, and I kind of just want to surprise people just to see, you know, what people's reactions are, I guess. And because there's just not really a lot to talk about, I guess you could say, because most of the stuff's going to stay relatively the same as it was in the first trailer, even though there wasn't a lot talking about in the first trailer. But anyway, regardless, there is no second trailer planned for EXE Files at all. And finally, the last big point for development behind EXE Files, just for this Pandaren update, is that the show is now just going to be made entirely solo. Originally, the show was supposed to be made with a bunch of other people, both from family and friends, but due to just the way I want to make the show, it's basically going to pull a Mod Gear and become solo, let's put it that way. But that basically wraps up all of the major EXE Files development that has come over the course of the last, probably like since the last Pandaren update up to now, so about 3 months. A lot of things have changed, the show has undergone some very significant redesigns, and I'm hoping to see that when it airs on September 4th, that everyone's going to be happy to see how it comes out. Moving on from that big point, we can now move on to the last major big content thing before, you know, social media and announcements, and that is Minecraft. Minecraft has not really had a lot talked about in the last few Pandaren updates, as mainly just the series as a whole has been doing really good with challenges and minigames being really fun, and the build tutorials just being really nice as well. However, Minecraft's very first big change is coming in this Pandaren update, and that is a schedule change. which I'm just basically just calling the Minecraft schedule change, version 1.1 of Minecraft content. Let's call it that because, you know, I'm unoriginal. So if you've seen Let's Talk before the show and you've at least like looked at the upload schedule for Minecraft content, you'll probably know that Minecraft content runs on a cycle. The cycle in this case starts with a challenge video, let's say that uploads on one Monday. That follows with a building tutorial, so like, I don't know, how to build a house or something. And then that follows with a minigame, like Build Battle. And once the minigame video goes up, the cycle just resets. So it just keeps repeating the 3 in that same order over and over and over. And it's been doing that cycle pretty much since January basically on repeat, not non-stop. So therefore, I figure it's time for a change. And while this isn't going to be a big change, it's definitely going to be noticeable. So therefore, the cycle is just going to get changed a little bit. The order of challenge, build, minigame is going to stay the same, but now instead of the minigame part being the end of the cycle, after every minigame video, there will be a second building video. So it'd be like, you have your challenge video, which is like, I don't know, the broken leg challenge, you have your how to build a house tutorial, you have your build battle video, and then rather than going to a new challenge video, like Survival Island or something, it'll instead go to another build tutorial, like how to build a public park. So therefore, the cycle just has 4 different videos rather than 3. Therefore, it just makes it so that there's always going to be a build tutorial every 2 weeks, and there will always be what I like to call challenge minigame videos in this case. I like to call them live recorded videos, because, you know, reasons. But there will always be a challenge or a minigame video every 2 weeks as well. Personally, I just feel like this is a better change, because the schedule's just been a bit off, and I just don't like how there's never really much of a consistency between live recorded Minecraft videos, that being challenge and minigame videos, as well as build tutorials. There just isn't really a consistent, I guess, flow, I guess you could say. So that's what this new cycle is made for. But now with all those little brief, I guess, updates and talks about the current content, I can now discuss the next big parts of this Pandaren update, and that is in our next one is social media. Once again, just a reminder that the channel does have its own Twitter page, and I'll leave a link to it in the description below. You can also find it in the YouTube channel or on the homepage, and it's also in the About tab in the channel's description. Twitter is where I like to talk about a lot of stuff, so if you want to see just like preemptive stuff about videos, that's where you're going to find it. So make sure you guys go check that out whenever you can. Another thing that I want to address, actually, something that's been on my mind for a lot longer than, like, it was addressed mainly in Mod Gear's runtime is when it started, and that is comments. Over the last, I would say probably like the last month, I've been getting just kind of random comments from people that are like, want to be friends? And I'm like, what are you doing? So, I'm just gonna make this clear now. If, by some miracle, someone comments on my videos and like, hey, you want to be friends? Or they're advertising some website, I'm just gonna delete your comment, because I don't want those comments on my videos. Like, if you're coming to comment on the video, say the video's good, or like a suggestion for a video or something, don't try to like advertise yourself. That's basically what these people were doing. So just a reminder that don't post stuff like that, otherwise your comments are just going to be instantly deleted, because I'm just not that kind of person. But now that the social media bit is kind of covered, I guess, we can now get basically to the last part of this Pandaren update. Yeah, this is surprisingly short, believe it or not. And we move in to the announcements. And unfortunately, I only have one major announcement for this episode, but don't worry, it's a good one. And for that, well, I'm happy to announce a little 5-episode series of a game that we haven't had on this channel for quite some time. And that series is called The Universal 5. So what exactly is the Universal 5? Well, as you could probably already tell by the name of it, with Universal in its name, Universe Sandbox is officially making its way back to the channel for basically the entirety of the summer and coming into September, where once we get into September it'll be gone, but for most of the summer it's going to be here. It is a mini-series that's based entirely on Universe Sandbox. So, what is it? Well, as the name with 5 in the name, 4 random US2 videos are going to get remastered basically for the new year. And how I do that is basically just go like sort my videos by like the most popular and choose like the top 10, and then just like pick 4 random ones between those 10. You're probably noticing I say 4 there, so there's got to be the 5th video in there somewhere. So what's the 5th video? Well, Basically, the 5th video is going to be a remastered of an old Universe Sandbox movie that I created called The Collision. A collision between two planets that was super dramatic, I guess, even though it wasn't dramatic. And The Collision 2 is what's going to come out of that, as the 5th video. As of right now, the schedule is going to be, like, the Universal 5 is going to have a very similar schedule to that of Panda's Lost episodes, premiering every 2 weeks, beginning on Friday, June 26th, so basically this is next week after this Pandaren update goes out. Starting Friday, June 26th, the Universal 5 will be premiering every 2 weeks up to probably like August or something, like sometime in August. Also to note, the Universal 5 is a scripted series, much like shows like Mod Year and parts of Panda's Lost episodes and build tutorials, as well as eventually EXE Files. So therefore, scripts inbound because, it's better. I personally prefer scripted series over live recorded series just because it just works better. The Universal 5 will not have a Let's Talk before the show, as well we're talking about it right now. However, the Universal 5 will have a Let's Talk after the show, similar to how Mod Gear and soon-to-be Panda's Lost episodes will also have Let's Talk after the show. Also to note, this isn't the last time that you're going to see space content, as well as just Universe Sandbox on this channel. Even though there are only 5 episodes, this isn't the last time you're going to see it. But that basically is a wrap on this Pandaren update. So, to review what we covered, we went over just a brief recap of Mod Gear, just, saying thank you and just telling you to check things out. I discussed some stuff with Panda's Lost episodes, explained when the show's going to be ending, how it's going to be ending, and stuff like that. I also went over some development behind EXE Files reboot and discussed a bunch of different changes and new updates, as well as a launch date for when the show is planned to go live. There's also been a slight change to the Minecraft schedule, which, just to confirm, the Minecraft schedule is going into effect today. So the next Minecraft video you see is not going to be a challenge video, it's going to be a build video, so just bear that in mind. I also went over some stuff regarding social media, reminding of Twitter and addressing just the comment section. And we also announced the new series, The Universal 5, which I'm very excited to see how it turns out. But anyway, if you guys are excited for these new changes, make sure you comment down below what you think. Make sure you like the video, because, I like that. But that's all for now. My name is PandaPowerSauce. Remember to stay saucy, and we'll see you next week. Later!